The morning sun streamed through the viewport of Lily Gardner's small quarters aboard the Galactic Federation transport ship. She watched the stars blur as the massive vessel prepared to exit faster than light travel. After 3 weeks of journey, they would finally arrive at the Galactic Federation Academy. Lily checked her reflection in the mirror one last time. Her brown hair was neatly tied back, and her regulation blue Federation exchange uniform fit well enough, though the sleeves were slightly too long for her arms. The gravity on the ship was set to standard galactic measurements, about 80% of Earth normal. It made her feel lighter, bouncier than she was used to. "Professor Gardner to the bridge for arrival procedures," announced a melodic voice. Through the speaker system, the corridors of the ship buzzed with activity as various species prepared for docking. Lily nodded politely to a group of tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin who moved aside to let her pass. Even after weeks aboard, she still felt the stares. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Captain Noor welcomed her onto the bridge. With a warm smile, he was one of the few other humans on board. "First time seeing the Academy?" he asked. Lily replied, approaching the massive viewing window. "I've only seen pictures during orientation." What she saw took her breath away. The Galactic Federation Academy was not a building but an entire moon, transformed into a sprawling campus of gleaming structures and vibrant biodomes. Ships of all sizes and designs moved in carefully coordinated patterns around the orbit, like a dance of metal and light. "Impressive, isn't it?" Captain Noor said. "Over 10,000 species study there? You'll be the first human teacher in the xenobiology department." Lily felt a flutter of nervousness in her stomach. No pressure. The ship docked with a gentle shudder. After gathering her belongings, Lily made her way to the arrival terminal, where a small delegation waited. At the front stood Dean Z. Katar, an imposing insectoid being with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected the light in prismatic patterns. "Professor Gardner," the Dean's translator device converted clicks and chirps into smooth English. "We are most pleased by your arrival. Your research on adaptive behaviors in Earth's apex predators has generated much interest." Lily extended her hand, then quickly pulled it back, remembering her cultural training. She instead performed the traditional galactic greeting, touching her forehead with 2 fingers. "Thank you for this opportunity, Dean Z. Katar. I'm eager to begin." A hovering transport took them from the docking bay through a series of transparent tubes that offered panoramic views of the Academy. Lily tried not to stare at everything at once, but failed miserably. Creatures of every imaginable shape and size moved through the grounds. Some flew, others slithered, some seemed to phase in and out of visible spectrum. "Your living quarters are in the Terran-compatible sector," explained a small amphibious being named Professor Gliv, who would be her department colleague. "We've adjusted the atmosphere and gravity to Earth standards. The water has been supplemented with minerals your species requires." That's very thoughtful," Lily said, touched by the consideration. "A necessity," Dean Z. Katar corrected. "Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world. Your environmental requirements are ... challenging." Lily had heard this term before, death world. It was how the Galactic Federation classified planets with extreme conditions. Earth, with its varying temperatures, high gravity, diverse microorganisms, natural disasters, and abundance of predatory species, ranked near the top of the scale. "We've prepared your teaching laboratory according to specifications," Professor Gliv continued, changing the subject, "though some of your planned demonstrations have been modified for safety reasons." Lily frowned. "Modified how?" "The practical examination of predator-prey dynamics using live Earth specimens was denied by the Safety Council," Dean Z. Katar explained. "Most of our students come from worlds where such creatures do not exist. The psychological impact could be severe." "I understand," Lily said, though she was disappointed. How could she properly teach about Earth's ecosystem without showing real examples? They arrived at her quarters, a spacious apartment with large windows overlooking a carefully maintained Earth-like garden. After her guides left, Lily unpacked her few belongings. including framed photos of her family back in Montana and her cat, Oliver. A soft chime indicated an incoming message on her new Academy communication device. It was her teaching schedule, along with student roster information. She would begin in 3 days, giving her time to adjust and prepare. The student list made her eyes widen. Over 40 different species, each with their own learning needs and biological backgrounds. Many came from worlds with stable environments and limited biodiversity, places where predictable patterns were the norm and survival didn't require constant adaptation. How could she help them understand life on a world where adapting to danger was a daily reality? Over the next days, Lily explored the academy. The xenobiology department occupied an entire section of the biodome complex, with specialized environments for studying life forms from across the galaxy. She spent hours in the specimen archives, fascinated by creatures she had never imagined could exist. On her third day, while examining the teaching materials left by previous professors, she received an urgent summons to Dean ZK's office. The dean was not alone when she arrived. A tall, reptilian being with scales that shifted color with each movement stood beside him, looking agitated. "Professor Gardner, this is Dr. Setak, our dangerous species containment specialist," Dean ZK introduced them. "We have a situation that may require your unique background." Dr. SS's tox scales flashed a pattern of reds and oranges. "A Vexillian hunting cat has been acquired for research purposes. It arrived this morning." "I'm not familiar with that species," Lily admitted. The reptilian specialist tapped a control panel, and a holographic image appeared. A sleek, midnight blue feline creature with glowing yellow eyes and a ridge of what looked like quills along its spine. "It is an apex predator from the Vexillian homeworld. Highly intelligent, extremely fast, and equipped with neurotoxic quills," Dr. SS's TAC explained. "Unfortunately, I must depart immediately for a family emergency. The backup handler is currently off-world." Dean ZK's mandibles clicked anxiously. The specimen cannot be returned as it was a diplomatic gift. It must be properly housed and cared for until Dr. Setak returns in approximately 2 Earth weeks. Lily suddenly understood why she had been summoned. "And you want me to handle it? You are from a death world. Your species routinely manages dangerous predators," the dean stated, as if it were obvious. "Your file indicates your father was a wildlife ranger, and you assisted with predator relocation projects." "Yes, but those were Earth animals I was familiar with," Lily protested. "I know nothing about Vexillian biology." Dr. Setak handed her a data tablet. "All information is here. The containment facility is secure. The creature merely needs daily feeding and observation." Lily looked at the hologram again. Despite its alien features, she could see familiar predator characteristics: the alert eyes, the efficient muscular structure, the predatory stance. Perhaps this wasn't so different from helping her father with mountain lions and wolves back home. "All right," she said finally. "I'll do it." As Dr. Setak hurriedly briefed her on feeding protocols and safety measures, Lily wondered what she had gotten herself into. Tomorrow she would meet her first class of alien students, and now she was also responsible for a potentially deadly alien predator. "Welcome to the Galactic Federation Academy," she thought to herself. This was going to be quite an adventure. Lily woke early on the morning of her first class. She had spent the previous evening reviewing the files on the Vexillian hunting cat and visiting the containment facility. The creature was even more impressive in person than in the hologram. Sleek, powerful, and clearly intelligent. It had watched her from behind the energy barrier with calculating yellow eyes, its midnight blue fur rippling as it paced. The feeding had gone smoothly enough. Lily had followed Dr. Setak's instructions precisely, using the automated systems to deliver the proper nutrient mix without direct contact. Still, something about the cat's behavior troubled her. It seemed restless, testing the barriers in a methodical way that suggested it was learning. Now, as she prepared for her first lecture, Lily tried to focus on the task at hand. The classroom assigned to her was a large amphitheater with tiered seating that curved around a central teaching platform. The environmental controls had been set to accommodate the widest possible range of species, resulting in a slightly cool, humid atmosphere. Lily arrived 30 minutes early to set up her presentation materials. She wore the standard Federation teaching uniform with her Earth patch displayed prominently on the shoulder. Her data tablet contained carefully prepared slides showing Earth's diverse ecosystems and the remarkable adaptations that had evolved there. "Professor Gardner?" A soft voice called from the doorway. Lily turned to see a student entering the room. At least she assumed it was a student. The being looked like a walking plant, slender green limbs with leafy appendages and a bulbous head that contained what seemed to be flowers. "Yes, that's me," Lily smiled, trying to recall the species from her orientation materials. "You're early." "I am Pollen," the plant being's translator device conveyed, from Chloris. "I wish to introduce myself before others arrived. Your lecture topic is of great interest to my people. Adaptation in hostile environments?" Lily asked, surprised. "I understood Chloris was a relatively stable world." "It was." Pollen's flowers seemed to droop slightly. "Recent solar activity has changed our climate patterns. We seek to understand how species like yours survive unpredictable conditions." Lily felt a new sense of purpose. Her class wasn't just academic for some students. The information could be vital to their species' future. More students began to file in. Some moved on appendages similar to legs, others floated, and a few seemed to shift and flow across surfaces. Lily greeted each one, trying to match species to the descriptions she had studied. The Artaxians arrived as a group, small, telepathic beings with oversized craniums and delicate limbs. They communicated through subtle gestures and projected thoughts that Lily could almost, but not quite, perceive at the edges of her consciousness. 3 bulky Quarians entered next, their silicon-based bodies making soft grinding sounds as they moved. They required no translation devices, as they had adapted vocal structures specifically to mimic other species' speech patterns. "Is it true your world experiences extreme temperature variations?" one Quarian asked Lily. "Yes," she replied. "In my hometown, it can be below freezing in winter and over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in summer." The Quarian's crystalline features rearranged in what Lily interpreted as an expression of shock. "And organic life survives this?" "Not only survives, but thrives," Lily assured them. "That's what today's lecture is about." By the scheduled start time, the amphitheater was nearly full. 47 students from 23 different species, according to Lily's count. They watched her with expressions ranging from curiosity to what she thought might be apprehension. "Welcome to Adaptation in Hostile Environments," Lily began, activating her presentation. "I'm Professor Lily Gardner from Earth, a Class 12 Deathworld by Federation classification." A murmur ran through the classroom at the mention of Deathworld. Some students shifted in their seats, while others leaned forward with greater interest. "Today we'll explore how life on Earth has developed strategies to survive conditions that might seem impossible to species from more stable worlds. We'll begin with temperature adaptations, then move to predator-prey dynamics." The first part of the lecture proceeded smoothly. Lily showed images of Earth's diverse climates, from Arctic tundra to scorching deserts, lush rainforests to windswept mountains. She explained how animals and plants had evolved specialized features to thrive in each extreme. "The polar bear," she said, displaying an image that caused several students to emit warning pheromones, "has hollow fur that traps heat and black skin that absorbs sunlight. Yet its cousin, the sun bear in tropical regions, has short fur and different fat distribution to release heat efficiently." A gelatinous student near the front raised a pseudopod. Query: how do Earth species manage rapid environmental changes? "Our world changes slowly over millions of cycles." An excellent question, Lily nodded. "Earth species face constant disruptions, seasons, weather events, natural disasters. Those that survive tend to have built-in behavioral flexibility." She was about to elaborate when a soft chime indicated a message on her communication device. Glancing down, Lily saw an urgent alert from the containment facility. Her heart sank as she read, Security Breach in Dangerous Species Section. Vexillion. Specimen not in enclosure. Tracking systems detect movement in ventilation system. At that moment, Dean Z. Katar entered through a side door, compound eyes reflecting obvious distress. He gestured for Lily to join him away from the students. Professor Gardner, he chittered quietly as she approached. We have an emergency situation. The Vexillion hunting cat, Lily whispered. It's escaped. The dean's mandibles clicked rapidly. Yes, how did you know? I just received the alert, she explained. Has the academy been notified? Should we evacuate? Security teams have been deployed, Dean Z. Katar said. But there is a complication. The tracking system indicates the creature is moving through the ventilation systems of this building wing. Lily felt a chill. How long until security arrives? With proper containment equipment? At least 20 Earth minutes. The dean's compound eyes shifted nervously toward the students, who were beginning to notice the interruption. Most of these species would be classified as prey on the Vexillion homeworld. A panicked evacuation might trigger hunting instincts. Lily understood the implications immediately. A room full of frightened alien students fleeing could provoke the predator's chase response. But keeping them here while a dangerous creature was potentially approaching also carried risks. What do you recommend? Dean Z. Katar asked, surprising Lily. You are the only one present with Deathworld predator experience. Lily thought quickly, recalling what she had learned about the Vexillion hunting cat. Fast, intelligent, equipped. With neurotoxic quills that could paralyze most galactic species instantly. But also a lone hunter that preferred to select individual prey rather than attack groups. We continue the lecture, she decided. Calmly, if the cat appears, I'll handle it. Panicking will only make things worse. The dean studied her for a moment before nodding. Very well, Professor. Security has been alerted to your decision. They will approach quietly when they arrive. He moved toward the exit, adding, Your species' reputation for handling crisis situations is apparently well-deserved. Lily returned to the teaching platform, consciously controlling her breathing to appear calm. The students waited expectantly, some showing signs of sensing the tension. Let's continue, she said with a smile that she hoped looked more confident than she felt. We were discussing behavioral adaptations to changing environments. This actually connects to our next topic, predator-prey dynamics on Earth. She advanced to the next slide, showing a food web from the African savanna. All the while, her ears strained for any sound from the ventilation system above the classroom. On Earth, Lily continued, many species have evolved alongside dangerous predators. Survival often depends on recognizing threats and responding appropriately. A faint metallic groan came from the ceiling. Several students looked up, antennae and sensory organs twitching. Lily pretended not to notice. Sometimes the best response to a predator isn't to run. Sometimes it's to stay perfectly still. A low growl echoed through the ventilation system. The sound was unmistakable to Lily, a predator preparing to strike. The alien students reacted instantly. Some changed colors, turning pale or blending with their surroundings. Others released warning scents that filled the air with sharp, tangy odors. The Artaxians huddled together, their telepathic distress creating a pressure at the edge of Lily's consciousness. Everyone remain calm, Lily said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Stay in your seats and move slowly if you need to move at all. A loud bang came from the ceiling as a ventilation panel bulged downward. Metal groaned as something heavy pressed against it. The students at the back began to edge toward the exits. Please stay where you are, Lily insisted more firmly. Quick movements will only make things worse. The ceiling panel crashed to the floor with a deafening clang. Through the rectangular opening, a sleek form dropped into the classroom. The Vexillion hunting cat landed with silent grace on the teaching platform, barely 5 feet from where Lily stood. In person, without the barrier of the containment field, the creature was even more impressive. Midnight blue fur rippled over powerful muscles. Yellow eyes with vertical pupils scanned the room methodically. Most striking was the ridge of quills. Along its spine, now fully extended and glistening with clear fluid that Lily knew contained potent neurotoxin. The classroom erupted in chaos. Several gelatinous students liquefied completely in fear. The plant-like student, Pollen, released a cloud of spores in a defensive reflex. One of the silicon-based Quarians made a break for the exit, crystal limbs scraping loudly against the floor. The noise and movement caught the predator's attention. It whirled toward the fleeing Quarian, muscles tensing to pounce. Its quills vibrated, preparing to launch. "No!" Lily shouted, stepping directly into the cat's line of sight of the Vexillian. Hunting cat froze, then slowly turned to face this new potential threat. It growled, a rumbling sound that Lily felt in her chest. Up close, she could see its 4 rows of serrated teeth as its lips pulled back in a snarl. Lily forced herself to breathe evenly. Running was not an option. Showing fear would only identify her as prey. Instead, she maintained eye contact with the predator while slowly reaching for her bag on the nearby desk. "On Earth," she said, her voice remarkably calm as she addressed both the cat and her terrified students, "we have a saying, knowledge is power. Understanding predator behavior is often the key to survival." The cat took a step toward her, sniffing the air. Its ears flicked forward with interest. "This is a Vexillian hunting cat," Lily continued, her hand finding what she was looking for in her bag. "An apex predator from a world not unlike Earth in many ways. Like Earth predators, it's drawn to movement, seeks the weakest target, and can be territorial." Slowly, Lily withdrew her hand from the bag. In it was a small metal device about the size of a pen and something wrapped in preservation film. The cat's keen nose twitched and its attention fixed on the wrapped package. "I visited the containment facility yesterday," Lily explained, unwrapping what turned out to be a sandwich. The smell of meat filled the air. "I noticed the feeding system wasn't quite right." The cat was being fed nutritional supplements, but not in a way that satisfied hunting instincts. She tore off a small piece of the sandwich meat and tossed it to the floor a few feet from the cat. The predator sniffed suspiciously but didn't move toward the food. "Predators like this one don't just eat to survive," Lily explained, clicking the small device in her other hand. It emitted a soft tone that made the cat's ears twitch. "They need mental stimulation. Hunting isn't just about killing, it's about the challenge, the pursuit." She clicked the device again and tossed another piece of meat, this one closer to the cat. This time, the Vexillian hunting cat stretched forward and sniffed the offering before consuming it with a quick motion of its tongue. "What I'm holding is a training clicker," Lily told the class. "On Earth, we use them with everything from household pets to zoo animals. The sound marks positive behavior, and the food rewards it. Simple conditioning." The alien students watched in stunned silence as their human professor continued talking. As if giving a normal lecture, all while standing mere feet from a deadly predator. "The problem with captive predators," Lily said, clicking and tossing another piece of meat, this one even closer to herself, "is boredom. A bored predator is a dangerous predator. This cat didn't escape because it was hungry or aggressive. It escaped because it was curious and understimulated." The cat followed the pattern of food, moving in a curving path that brought it to Lily's side of the platform. Some students gasped as it came within arm's reach of their professor. "Now, I should note," Lily said, her tone conversational despite the tension, "that I would never recommend this approach to anyone not familiar with predator behavior. Earth humans have a long history of working with dangerous animals. My father was a wildlife ranger who specialized in predator management. I grew up helping him with everything from wolves to mountain lions." She clicked the device again and held out the last piece of meat in her open palm. The classroom fell completely silent. Even the dean, who had returned and was watching from the doorway, seemed frozen in place. The Vexillian hunting cat approached Lily's outstretched hand. Its quills were still partially extended but no longer dripping with toxin. It sniffed her fingers carefully, then delicately took the food from her palm with its front teeth. "There you go," Lily said softly. "You're just hungry and bored, aren't you?" Not so different from an Earth cat after all. To the astonishment of everyone watching, the predator made a rumbling sound that was not quite a purr but suggested something less than hostility. It sat on its haunches, still alert but no longer in a hunting posture. In my research, Lily continued, seamlessly returning to lecture mode while keeping the small clicker ready in her hand, I've found remarkable parallels between predator species across different worlds. Convergent evolution suggests certain traits are universally beneficial for hunting: keen senses, quick reflexes, problem-solving intelligence. She risked a glance at her students. Their expressions ranged from terror to disbelief to fascination. The plant being, pollen, had extended recording appendages to document the unprecedented scene. This is actually an excellent real-world example of the adaptation principles we were discussing, Lily said. Both the predator and I are adapting to an unexpected situation. The cat is learning that aggression isn't necessary to meet its needs, and I'm applying Earth knowledge to an alien species. A soft chime sounded at the classroom door. The security team had arrived, carrying specialized containment equipment. The lead officer, a reptilian being similar to Dr. Sedak but with darker scales, looked uncertainly between Lily and the now calm predator sitting beside her. "Professor Gardner?" the security officer whispered. "We're here to remove the dangerous specimen." Lily nodded but held up a hand to signal them to wait. Any sudden movements now could undo the fragile trust she had established with the predator. "Class," she said, maintaining her calm teaching voice, "we're going to take a brief pause while our guest is safely returned to proper housing. Please remain seated and quiet until security has completed their task." She looked down at the Vexillian hunting cat, which was watching the security team with renewed wariness, its quills beginning to rise again. "And as for you," she said to the predator, "I think it's time we found you more suitable accommodations, with proper enrichment this time." The news of what happened in Lecture Hall 7 spread through the Galactic Federation Academy faster than light-speed communication. By the end of the day, everyone from first-year students to senior faculty had heard about the human professor who had faced down a Vexillian hunting cat with nothing more than a sandwich and a small clicking device. Lily sat in Dean Z. Qatar's office, sipping a cup of earth tea that the Academy had specially imported for her. The dean's compound eyes reflected the light as he reviewed the security footage of the incident on a holographic display. "Remarkable," he chittered, mandibles clicking with what Lily had come to recognize as amazement. "Most beings would have fled. Even our security personnel approached Vexillian hunting cats with protective gear and stun weapons." "It was just basic animal behavior management," Lily said modestly. "The cat wasn't actually trying to hurt anyone. It was exploring, curious about its new environment." "Perhaps," the dean replied, "but your response was anything but basic to us." "You continued teaching while managing a Class 9 predator," Lily smiled. "Actually, that part was intentional. Keeping my voice steady and continuing the lecture helped maintain a calm atmosphere. Panic would have made the situation much worse." The door slid open and Dr. Sess's tack rushed in. The reptilian specialist had returned early from his family emergency after hearing what had happened. "My sincerest apologies, Professor Gardner," he said, scales shifting to a regretful blue-green. "The containment protocols should have been more secure. I never imagined the specimen would figure out the locking mechanism so quickly." "No harm done," Lily assured him, "but I do have some suggestions about the cat's care." Dr. SS's Tack and Dean Z. Qatar exchanged glances. "We were hoping you might," the dean said. "In fact, we'd like to propose something. Dr. Sedak has other duties that require frequent travel. Would you consider taking primary responsibility for the Vexillian hunting cat during your time at the Academy?" Lily was surprised. "Me? But I'm here to teach xenobiology, not manage dangerous specimens." "You clearly have a gift for it," Dr. SS's Tack said. "And it would be an invaluable practical component for your classes on adaptation and predator behavior." The idea was appealing. Lily had already been thinking about how the cat's enclosure could be improved with proper enrichment activities and a more suitable habitat. "I'll do it," she decided, on one condition. I want to redesign the containment area to better mimic the cat's natural environment, and I want permission to use it as a teaching resource, safely, of course. Granted, Dean Z. Katar said without hesitation. Our engineers will assist with whatever modifications you require. Later that afternoon, Lily visited the containment facility again. The Vexilian hunting cat had been returned to its enclosure, but the security team had installed additional safeguards at her request, not just to keep the cat in, but to keep unauthorized personnel out. The predator watched her approach, Yellow, eyes tracking her movements. Its quills were relaxed now, lying flat against its back. "Hello again," Lily said softly. "I hear we're going to be spending more time together." She pressed her hand against the transparent barrier. To her surprise, the cat approached and placed its paw directly opposite her hand on the other side of the barrier. Something like recognition flickered in those alien eyes. The next morning, Lily arrived at her classroom to find it filled beyond capacity. Students were crowded in the doorway and sitting in the aisles. Many weren't even enrolled in her course. "Excuse me," she said, trying to make her way to the teaching platform. "I need to get through, please." The students moved aside, some watching her with what seemed like awe. Whispers followed her. "That's her, the Deathworlder professor." Pollen, the plant being from Chloris, approached her as she set up her materials. "Professor Gardner, your handling of the predator was most educational," they said. "Many of us have submitted formal requests to join your course. The waiting list now exceeds 300 students." Lily blinked in surprise. 300? But why? Your practical demonstration of adaptation principles was unlike anything we have seen before, Pollen explained. On most of our worlds, such a predator would mean certain death, yet you showed another way. DNZ Katar had to be called to help manage the overflow of students. Eventually, it was decided that Lily's lectures would be moved to the main auditorium and broadcast to remote viewing rooms throughout the academy. "This is unprecedented," the dean told her. "No first-term professor has ever generated such interest." As Lily began her lecture, she noticed a group of senior faculty members observing from the back of the room. Their presence made her nervous, but she focused on her topic for the day: communication and signaling across species. "Yesterday's events provided an excellent case study," she said. "The Vexilian hunting cat was using a form of communication that most of you instinctively understood as threatening extended quills, growling, aggressive posture. But those signals had specific meanings that, once understood, allowed for a different type of interaction." The lecture proceeded smoothly, with students asking thoughtful questions about cross-species understanding. At the end, Lily made an announcement that caused excited murmurs to ripple through the audience. "For those enrolled in this course, we'll be having a special practical session next week. In small groups, you'll observe as I work with the Vexilian hunting cat in its new habitat. Proper safety measures will be in place and participation is entirely voluntary." After class, one of the senior faculty approached her, a luminous being that seemed composed of swirling gas contained within a specialized environment suit. "Professor Gardner," the being's translator conveyed, "I am Dr. Lumina, Chair of Interspecies Psychology. Your approach yesterday has generated significant interest in my department. We have been studying communication between different galactic species for centuries, yet the ease with which you connected with a completely alien predator was remarkable." "It wasn't that sophisticated," Lily said. "Just simple conditioning techniques we use with animals on Earth." "That is precisely what interests us," Dr. Lumina replied, the gases within their containment suits swirling more rapidly. "Your species developed these techniques on a world where you were neither the strongest nor the fastest creatures. You survived by understanding other species, including those that could harm you." Lily hadn't thought about it that way before. Humans took their ability to communicate with animals for granted. It was just part of life on Earth. "We would like to propose a joint research project," Dr. Lumina continued. "A study of Earth communication methods with non-sentient species and their potential applications across the galaxy." "I'd be honored," Lily said, genuinely excited by the idea, that evening. Lily received a message from Earth, a video call from her father. His weathered face broke into a smile when he saw her. "There's my girl. How's life among the stars?" "Dad, you won't believe what happened yesterday," Lily began, then spent the next several minutes telling him about her encounter with the Vexillian hunting cat. Her father laughed when she finished the story. "So all those summers helping me relocate mountain lions finally paid off, huh?" "More than you know," Lily said. "It turns out that growing up on a death world gave me skills that are pretty rare out here. Just be careful," her father cautioned. "Even Earth predators can be unpredictable. Alien ones might have surprises you haven't seen before." "I will," Lily promised. "But I think this might be the beginning of something important. The Academy has never had anyone teach about Earth's predator-prey dynamics from first-hand experience." After ending the call, Lily looked out her window at the spectacular view of distant stars and nearby planets. Somewhere out there was Earth, a small blue dot that the Galactic Federation classified as one of the most dangerous worlds in charted space. She had never thought of her home that way. To her, Earth was simply Earth, beautiful, challenging, sometimes harsh, but home. Now she was beginning to see her planet and her species through alien eyes, and the perspective was fascinating. Tomorrow she would begin redesigning the habitat for the Vexillian hunting cat, incorporating elements that would stimulate its hunting instincts in safe ways. And next week, she would show her students that understanding a predator could be more valuable than fearing it. Lily Gardner, the Deathworlder professor, was just getting started. 3 months after the incident with the Vexillian hunting cat, the Galactic Federation Academy was hosting its quarterly symposium. Representatives from over 50 worlds had gathered to share research and educational techniques. The main auditorium was filled to capacity for the most anticipated presentation of the event, Deathworld Adaptation Strategies and Their Galactic Applications, by Professor Lily Gardner. Lily stood backstage, reviewing her notes one last time. She wore her Earth uniform with new additions, a specially designed insignia showing Earth's position in the galaxy, and a small pin that resembled a Vexillian hunting cat. "Nervous?" asked a familiar voice. Lily turned to see Captain Noor, the human who had transported her to the Academy. He was on leave from his ship duties to attend the symposium. "A little," Lily admitted. "It's not every day you present to representatives from 50 worlds. You'll do fine," he assured her. "Word about your work has spread beyond the Academy. There's even talk about expanding the human exchange program because of your success." Before Lily could respond, Dean Z. Qatar approached. "It's time, Professor Gardner. The audience is ready." Lily walked onto the stage to an auditorium filled with beings of all shapes, sizes, and compositions. Some floated in atmosphere tanks. Others were barely visible energy patterns, and many were physical creatures with features ranging from familiar to utterly alien. At the front, she spotted her students, including Pollen, who had become something of an assistant in her research. "Greetings," Lily began. 3 months ago, I arrived at this academy as the first human teacher in the xenobiology department. I came to share knowledge about Earth's ecosystems. What I didn't expect was how much I would learn about our place in the galaxy." She activated the holographic display, showing an image of Earth rotating slowly. "This is my home, classified as a Class 12 death world by Federation standards. When I first heard this term, I was surprised. To me, Earth has always been simply home. Challenging sometimes, yes, but not particularly deadly." The audience murmured with interest as she continued. "Today I want to share how growing up on a death world shapes a species, and how those adaptations might benefit the broader galactic community." She signaled to a technician and a side door opened. A collective gasp went through the audience as the Vexillian hunting cat padded onto the stage. It was not in a cage or behind a barrier. It wore only a simple collar with a small device attached. The cat moved directly to Lily's side and sat, its posture alert but calm. Its once dangerous quills lay flat against its back, showing no signs of aggression. "This is Vex," Lily introduced the predator. "Some of you may remember our first meeting in Lecture Hall 7. Since then, We've been working together as part of my research into cross-species communication and predator behavior modification. She clicked a small device in her hand, and Vex responded by standing up and walking in a circle around her before sitting again. The audience watched in amazement. "What you're seeing isn't magic or even particularly advanced technology," Lily explained. "It's the result of understanding evolutionary patterns. On Earth, humans evolved alongside predators that could easily kill us. We weren't the strongest or fastest species, but we survived and thrived because we developed something else: the ability to observe, understand, and communicate with other species." She clicked the device again, and Vex stretched up on his hind legs, placing his front paws gently on a platform next to Lily. This gave the audience a clear view of his full size, nearly as tall as Lily when standing upright. "The training methods I've used with Vex are the same ones we've used with Earth animals for thousands of years. They're based on a simple principle: most intelligent creatures seek positive experiences and avoid negative ones. By understanding what motivates a particular species, we can establish communication." For the next hour, Lily demonstrated various techniques she had developed for working with the Vexilian hunting cat. She showed how she had modified its habitat to provide mental stimulation, how she had identified its natural behaviors and worked with them rather than against them, and how she had established trust through consistent positive interaction. "But this presentation isn't just about working with predators," Lily said as she moved to the next part of her talk. "It's about what being from a death world has taught my species about adaptation." She displayed a series of images showing Earth's diverse and often extreme environments, from deep oceans to high mountains, from frozen tundra to scorching deserts. Humans live in all these environments, not because we're physically suited to them, but because we adapt. We observe, learn, and change our behavior to fit our surroundings. This flexibility is perhaps the greatest gift our challenging home world gave us. Lily then introduced the joint research project she had established with Dr. Lumina from Interspecies Psychology. Together, they had been studying how Earth-based communication techniques could be applied to various species across the galaxy. "Our early results suggest that many of the methods humans take for granted could have wide applications throughout the Federation," Dr. Lumina explained, joining Lily on stage. "From wildlife management on developing worlds to improved communication with non-sentient service species, the potential benefits are substantial." As the presentation concluded, Dinzi Qatar stepped forward with an announcement that surprised even Lily. "The Academy Council has unanimously approved the establishment of a new department, Deathworld Studies. This department will focus on the unique adaptations and knowledge that species from challenging worlds bring to our galactic community. And we are pleased to announce that Professor Gardner has been appointed as its founding chair." The audience erupted in applause. Lily stood stunned for a moment before composing herself to accept the honor. After the symposium ended, Lily found herself surrounded by representatives from various worlds, all eager to discuss potential collaborations. The Federation Science Minister, a crystalline being of great influence, was particularly interested. "Your work suggests an entirely new approach to cross-species relations," the minister said. "For too long, we have viewed death worlds as simply dangerous places that produce hardy species. But perhaps they produce something more valuable: adaptability and understanding." Later that evening, Lily sat alone in her quarters with Vex curled up nearby. The predator had been officially registered as both a research subject and an educational assistant, allowing him to remain with Lily rather than in the containment facility. She was reading through messages from Earth when a special communication arrived, an official offer from the Federation Council. They wanted her to develop a training program for diplomatic personnel, teaching human methods of observation and adaptation. "What do you think, Vex?" she asked the lounging predator. "Should we help teach the galaxy how to think like Deathworlders?" The cat opened one yellow eye lazily, then closed it again in what Lily had come to recognize as contentment a year ago. Lily Gardner had been a xenobiologist from Montana, applying for an exchange program on a whim. Now she was establishing a new field of study, with implications that could change how the galaxy viewed Earth and humanity, all because she had stayed calm when faced with a predator, treating it not as a monster but as a creature to be understood. It was the most human thing she could have done, and paradoxically, the thing that made the aliens finally understand what being human truly meant. The Deathworlder and the Predator had found their place among the stars, teaching a simple but profound lesson. Sometimes the most valuable adaptation isn't claws or armor or venom, but the ability to understand those who are different from yourself.